So what is community solar? It's a way for households to join a large single solar shared array and receive solar energy credits directly on their individual electricity bill. So as you can see in this graphic here, one large array on a roof is actually generating solar for a community center, a school, and various households, all from one array. And as I said earlier, this is really exciting for people who thought they would never have the capacity to have solar. Next. Okay, so how does that work? So the array generates electricity, as we saw from that roof. That goes to the utility. So it actually goes, it outsources to the utility. Then it goes from the utility to the solar subscriber. So that subscriber doesn't necessarily have to have a roof of their own because it comes in with your electricity, but you get the solar credits for the fact that community array is generating solar. You get 15% off your electric bill, and then Co-op Power will charge you, take the leftover credits, less than the 15%, and they pass that back to the people who financed the array. So it allows us to pay off that array over time in about 7 to 10 years. And then there's the possibility of the community actually buying the array for itself after that. How do we build it? So first, joining Co-op Power Boston, this community energy cooperative, which is making a cooperative investment in building these arrays in Boston. And once you've joined, they are having regular CEC meetings, and we'll have a follow-up workshop on how to know and how to find great solar sites and how to find good community partners so that we can get community solar arrays financed and built for the people who need it most and for the community partners we love. So why co-ops? Since we're clearly of a cooperative nature. Co-op power, it gives us the opportunity for us to own our own power. And having lived in Los Angeles during the times of rolling blackouts, when Enron held energy from the city, it really gave me a strong experience of how important it is for communities to own their own power. So the cooperative movement is all about sharing resources and support systems and learning curves so we can develop community-owned, appropriate community-scale solar that we govern and decide on how to run and manage ourselves. There's a lot of talk about community solar, but a lot of it is for profit, and this is really a community-owned, community-led model.
Yay, the co-ops cooperating!
Which they really did on River Valley Co-op. It's on a food co-op. It was designed by a food co-op, by an energy co-op, and built by a cooperative solar build company, PV Squared. So why join us? It's an investment in a climate resilient future by building renewable energy, which, as we all know, moving away from fossil fuels as quickly as possible is essential, but at the same time committed to there being a real social justice economic aspect of that. So it's not big multinational owned energy, but distributed to our communities and owned and controlled by our communities. So when you invest in membership in Boston Co-op and Co-op Power Boston, that's what you're investing in. And it builds, as I've said, energy security for Boston. It brings community solar to our favorite community organizations. And if you, by chance, are a homeowner and want to put solar on your house, we can help you do that as well. So these are our membership options, and Ruth at Co-op Power is happy to, if you have any questions or concerns, she's given us her email at the top there. So we have our standard membership, which is for people who have income more than 30,000 a year, and half of it is equity in co-op, meaning it's an investment, and the other part is the joining fee, which we use basically for our operating costs to run Co-op Power. And if you're a limited resource member, then there's also the possibility of a $500 membership. And both of these can be paid through time. So you can pay it as over 10 years with 50 a year for 10 years for the limited resource one. And these are investments, as I've said, in our future, both in terms of social justice and climate change reversal.
Thank you. So we'll hope at the end of this evening, when I send out a Zoom poll, that there will be some follow-up folks who want to join as members of Co-op Power Boston. So again, can I put a spotlight on you quickly, Ruth? Can you unmute yourself and say hello?
Hello, everyone. My name is Ruth. I am here and happy to answer any and all questions that you have about membership inquiries during the event or afterwards. I also put my email in the chat so that you all can find it.
Great. Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Ruth.
Ruth.
Thank you, Marianne. Okay, so as part of this launch party and all of these fireworks, can't we just imagine all of these fireworks happening in real life together? We would spend so much money on fireworks. We want to celebrate our current partners, the Dorchester Food Co-op and Viet Aid. I'm going to pass it off to Alphonse Knight, who is a Co-op Power board member, Co-op Power Boston and regional board member. Take it away, Alphonse.
And Robin too, I believe.
Yes.
Okay, my name is Alphonse Knight. I'm a Co-op Power Boston board member and also Co-op Power in general. Power purchase agreement, Viet Aid will lease their roof to Co-op Power Boston. Co-op Power Boston will help finance, build, and manage an 81 kilowatt solar array. Dorchester Food Co-op will offtake the energy at a discount rate. I am happy and proud to be part of Co-op Power. I'm also a member of Dorchester Food Co-op. I believe in local produce, locally grown, and locally everything. So I'd like to turn this over to
Robin.
Robin.
Yes. Wonderful. Thank you, Alphonse. Thank you. This is very exciting tonight because I have been following the Co-op Power for years. So I'm very happy for this launch. I can't wait to join. Tonight, I am representing Dorchester Food Co-op, and I see a few folks on the call who are members already. They're already member owners of Dorchester Food Co-op, Olive and Alphonse and Miriam and a few others, Jenny and Bob. And I can't see everybody, but I know there's a few more. You don't have to, I don't think we need to explain what a co-op is. Obviously, we know it's people working together under the same mission to have something accomplished. And in our case with Dorchester Food Co-op, it is about having healthy food, sustainability, and access to healthy food for all, no matter income level. So it's all about social justice. And then also we're working with energy and renewable energy as well. This is a rendition here of what the storefront will be looking like, hopefully. And we are building on Bowdoin Street, and Viet Aid is the owner of the building, and we'll be renting the first floor. So we're an initiative to build a community and worker-owned grocery store. And our membership for Dorchester Food Co-op is a one-time lifetime membership. So you pay it once. It's $100 for your membership, and that's one share. And you can pay in installments or you can pay all at once. It's very easy to join. You can go to our website, which is dorchesterfoodcoop.com, and press the join button. You'd probably, could you go back to that last screen? Or did you go ahead? Okay. Yes, so what will be offered by the Dorchester Food Co-op, we're going to have an indoor cafe seating space. So it'll be a hub for the community, not just a shopping location. But we're more than just a store. We love to say that because we're a community of involved people. All the members are obviously involved with what we're doing. We'll have local, organic, and fair trade produce. We'll have a bulk section so that you can order and do away with some packaging. So we'll be a little bit more environmental friendly. There'll be community programming on sustainability and healthy food. There'll be a convenient parking lot there. And of course, our workers in the store will have a living wage. So we support living wage jobs. And participation by the members, member owners, is most important. So as a member owner, you would be able to participate in the governance of the co-op as well as run for the board. So it's all about everybody participating. Participation, we're stronger together. So we would love folks tonight to, if you aren't a member yet, to consider becoming a member of Dorchester Food Co-op. If you have any questions, you're welcome to email info@dorchesterfoodcoop.com. But also, if you'd like to become a member, if you go to the website, there's a frequently asked questions tab. So if you have any other questions, and then you can join right online on the website. So hopefully we have a few folks that will join us today. We're currently at 1,105 member owners. So that is a huge accomplishment. And our goal is to have 1,200 by the end of December. So we just need 95 more members, and we'd love for 5 of them to be part of you all tonight, or even more actually. Since there's 29 people on the call, we would love all 29 of you to join. And I will pass the mic.
Thank you, Robin. Yes, I already did see Kate drop it into the chat that Kate is interested in becoming a Dorchester Food Co-op member.
I
So
will be one by the time this party is over.
right on. So if anybody else is interested, please just drop your name right into the chat. We can follow up with you if you're not into clicking on links right now. We'll follow up with you. Thank you so much, Robin. We can't wait to build the store. It's coming in 2023, and that rooftop array will be up there and ready to give all of its wonderful solar energy to the food co-op to power all of that refrigeration and lighting to bring fresh organic produce to our neighborhood. Yay!
Yay!
Okay, so folks, we're going to do a little bit of virtual post-its and a word cloud. If you have a moment, it's going to be an interactive exercise. So what I'd like you to do is you're going to take your phone out, or you can open another tab if you can do that on your computer and go to www.menti.com. And it looks like this. You can see it here on my face. And all you're going to do is enter in this code 44741361. And then we're going to have 2 little question and answer sessions. So this first one is virtual post-it notes. So anything you want to write, it'll show up on the screen. And you're going to write into the little box here, what excites you most about Co-op Power Boston and Community Solar? So I've already got some things populated in there. I'm seeing another great local community focused grocery store near me. That's exciting.
Miriam, can you give the number again?
Yeah, it's right up here on top of the screen, 44741361. So the instructions are at the top, menti.com, 4474.
Those of us who can't remember that many, oh, there it is. Thank you. It's in the chat.
Thank you. Yes, in the chat and on the screen. Thank you for all of the wonderful volunteers in Co-op Power Boston who are supporting. Thank you, Ruth, for dropping that in the chat, and Joel. Awesome. Ownership. Solar for all, not just people who have houses that can have solar on their roofs, but renters and others who can't install solar. Maybe bring this to Cape Ann. The power will be controlled by the people, by the community. Cooperation. Everyone can cooperate. Oh, we've got hardcore cooperators on here. I'm very happy that we get more clean energy in Boston. I love co-ops and returning power to the people. Community control. Neighbors together. And if anyone's having trouble, you can just drop it into the chat. I see Nia has put in community solarship. I'm going to put that in for you, Nia. And if anybody else wants to just drop it into the chat also, we'll be happy to populate it for you. Thank you so much for participating, everyone. Recycle money and energy into the community. Awesome. I love that neighborhoods can own their own power. Love co-ops and returning power to the people. Renewable power. No one left out. Combat climate change. Awesome. Greener energy choices from Paige and availability of co-op services, food gathering, and greater access. Excellent. I'm going to move us forward to our next slide here. So this next exercise is a word cloud. Yes, I will share that with you, Kendra. We are collecting these afterwards. So this one is specifically about the Dorchester Food Co-op and Viet Aid solar proposal. So Olive and Alphonse said, it's up to the Boston Co-op Power to decide which projects we want to invest in. Which projects are we going to go after and develop? And so we're trying to gauge our interest here in the community for us doing this project on the DFC roof. So, portion that says go to next slide, little blue button on top, and it's the same code. If you didn't get it before, it's at the top of the screen, and Ruth and Kate may drop it into the chat. 447.
I'll put it in the chat.
All on the roof at 195 Bowdoin Street, co-ops cooperating. And if you like any of the words you already see on the screen, you can go ahead and type them in there. And if you type in the same word, it will get bigger and bigger in the word cloud. So I already have 14 people who've had a chance to enter. And I am also going to enter in for folks who want to put it on the chat. I can go ahead and enter it in for you. Okay, so we're seeing equity, savings, people, community, cooperation, no developers. We're the developers. BIPOC, community, cooperation. Excellent. Environmental justice. Yeah, if you really like one of the words, you can just put it in 3 times and make it get really big. Trust, local, green, support farmers, opportunities for work and job like Cambridge and Boston model. Excellent. Okay. 28 entries. I think we have 29 people on the call, so maybe we're almost there. Has everybody had a chance? Affordability, people. Awesome. 33. Wow. Okay, great. Thank you, everyone, for participating. That will help Co-op Power Boston make the decision on moving forward with the letter of intent and signing on this new project with the Dorchester Food Co-op and Viet Aid. Thank you very much, everyone. Speaking of other partners, we also wanted to welcome Codman Square, NDC, and the Boston Teachers Union. So we're not at any point now with Codman Square folks or Boston teachers where we have a project that we're proposing, but we're in the beginning of forming some new partnerships with them. And I just wanted to hear a little bit from each of these groups so that we can talk about how we can advocate for climate resilient futures and community owned and cooperatively owned solar in our neighborhoods. So without further ado, I am passing it off to you, Dave. I hope you're in here somewhere.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Dave. Hello. Welcome.
Hey, Miriam. How are you? Thanks, and good evening, everybody. Thanks for the opportunity to talk to you all tonight. So I just want to give you an opportunity to learn about some of the work we've been doing. We've been working with local residents for about almost 2 years now on the idea of surfacing their climate-related concerns and really pushing those concerns forward in 3 buckets. And this is all happening under a grant from the Kresge Foundation. We've got a 3-year action grant. And when I say we, Codman Square NDC, Southwest Boston CDC in Hyde Park, and Dorchester Bay EDC, we're all located along the Fairmont line, and we're trying to activate the Fairmont line in terms of jobs, in terms of transit equity, in terms of health, and in terms of climate. So 3 buckets that we're really working through are hero legislation is a doubling of the deeds excise tax, and Massachusetts actually has the lowest deeds excise tax of any New England state. So the deeds excise tax takes place when you sell your house. Somebody pays that deeds excise tax, either the buyer or the seller. So doubling it from 4 something per $1,000 to 9 something per $1,000 would generate $300 million a year for affordable housing and open space. And then the second bucket we're working in, and we've been advocating for passage of all 3 of these buckets or bills, the climate roadmap. So we advocated for passage of the climate roadmap bill. It passed, it was signed by the governor about 6 months ago. And that too will generate different sources of funding for climate related jobs, for climate related education and certification. So for example, the Mass Clean Energy Center will get about $12 million a year from that climate bill. Who gets to use that money? Where does it go? Who gets a seat at the table and discussing that and determining? That's what we're all about. Excuse me. Their focus is really green jobs and solar and things like air sealing and HVAC, things that'll help us meet our energy efficiency demands and carbon reductions by 2030. The third bucket is the creation of a City of Boston Conservation Corps, which is really focused on young people aged 18 to 30 and getting them good paying jobs, but also educating them in terms of how they could do those jobs. So again, it's everything from working on trees, working on HVAC, working on air sealing, but also the better jobs, the jobs that not only don't require a 4-year degree, but may require a 4 degree. So planning or oversight or construction oversight. So it's really creating a whole, excuse me, cadre of Boston young people that are unemployed or underemployed, folks that have been involved with the court system, reentry citizens, everybody. So we advocated for the passage of that bill. And now the city has set aside about $4 million for what sounds like a pilot starting in the spring, really starting with about 100 young people. But we're hoping, and with pressure from groups like yours and ours, maybe we can ramp up that number over time. So we meet about every 2 months. We've got 2 groups. One's a people of color only group because we really wanted to focus and surface the concerns of people of color first. And then there's a larger group that meets, that helps take those recommendations and moves them forward. It's a more diverse group. So we're hoping that any number of you would join us and help us move these efforts forward. Olive came to her first meeting today, earlier tonight. It was great to have her, but we'd love to have more of you. And I'm happy to answer any questions people have. And my boss, Gail Lattimore, is the executive director of Codman Square NDC, is also here, so she may want to add something.
Thank you very much, Dave. Dave Quealy, everyone, Eco Innovation District Director at Codman Square NDC. So if anybody is interested in maybe joining up with this BIPOC focus group about climate resilient neighborhoods with Codman Square and participating alongside Olive, we can see a lot of potential partnerships, whether it's green jobs and solar jobs related directly to projects that we're developing, or working together on some of these initiatives to help get the HERO legislation passed. So if anybody wants to follow up with Dave, maybe you can drop your email into the chat and then folks can follow up with you afterwards. We hope that, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll do that. And Kendra Beaver, who I forgot to mention, is our new climate justice coordinator. So we'll both drop our emails into the chat and people can follow up with us.
Thank you. Thank you. Welcome, Kendra and Gail also. Hello.
Thanks, Miriam.
Awesome. We hope that any new rooftops, carports, and potential solar related things can come by Co-op Power Boston's way in the near future. So I'm going to pass it off to the wonderful Joel Richards from the Boston Teachers Union. And I'm going to give it off to you, Joel, to talk to us a little bit about greening our schools.
Yeah, thank you for the intro. Didn't know I was so wonderful.
Wonderful.
I'll take it. Can you guys hear me okay? Always check. As a teacher, you always got to check because the first thing someone will scream is, can't hear you, can't hear you, it's muted. All right. We met earlier, Betsy and Miriam and I, and we're just thinking of what to tell you guys because honestly, there's so much intersectionality when it comes to the public schools and public buildings and our students, and when it comes to solar and retrofitting and just all of these different projects that you guys are talking about, from the Dorchester Food Co-op, getting our students access to actual healthy food and meals that they'll actually eat at school. So we're here, like we said, mainly to be a part of the conversation of what do green schools look like, and any project that really helps our students and the families that we serve, we want to be a part of as the BTU. And we definitely, this is the biggest fight of our generation because there's the intersectionality of racial justice and economic justice and just environmental justice. Currently, where I live in Fields Corner in Dorchester, and where a lot of my students live also, I teach at the Blackstone, and we have the worst air quality in the city. And this is known. COVID, we were most likely, our students were the ones most likely to die or suffer from asthma or develop asthma in our schools just because they're not ventilated properly. So we see this as the future because we see green schools as a community space because we know we need cooling centers. We know that, like you're talking about, more solar to power the communities around us. So we know that our roofs are huge and there would be great places for solar panels to be on top of and help utility burden families around us. And just back to the cooling centers, we saw in the Midwest where people weren't willing to go far from their homes to go to these cooling centers. They didn't feel comfortable and people were dying or developing breathing attacks. And so having someplace central in their neighborhood where they can go to find comfort is essential. And we see schools as that for our families and for the elderly and for people that have breathing problems. So in short, we're just here because we want to have a say and we want to support any initiative that will bring about green schools and economic and racial justice for our students. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Joel. And I know that you and other folks here from BTU are also members of the Dorchester Food Co-op.
I am.
And members of...
I used to be a neighbor to Barbara and Bob, and they signed me up as soon as they started. This was years ago when I lived over in Ashmont Street. I remember. So yeah, this is exciting to actually see it being built and be able to walk in. So that's huge. And I interact with V at 8 all the time. I live in Fields Corner, and a lot of my good friends are on there. And the Codman Square, the things they've done just alone with that, I send pictures to all my friends about just the fresh food that you guys do on Saturdays and the lines around the block. I literally have friends that were telling me, oh, if you give people more access, they won't go. I'm like, proof, there you go. So I appreciate every group here. This is amazing. I do have to jump off, but thank you so much for doing this, Sarah. I missed the toast. This is great, guys. Thank you.
Awesome. If anybody wants to follow up, I believe Betsy is the secretary of the BTU. Betsy, maybe you're on here somewhere.
Betsy is here. Yeah.
Excellent.
I'm
Maybe
here,
you could
yeah.
wave hello.
I'm a little bit under the weather, so I don't have my camera on, but
No problem.
I'm a former secretary treasurer of the Boston Teachers Union, but we're pulling together a climate justice committee to really spearhead some of this work. So we're happy to be here and happy to cooperate and collaborate. So thank you so much.
And just real quick, David, I know Mike Ritter personally. We've put the petition in our bulletins for the union. Actually, Mike Ritter was literally at my house yesterday. So we're connected already. Thank you for suggesting that. But yes. Yeah.
Okay. We'd love to also talk to you about the food angle too. We have a urban agriculture site called Oasis at Baloo. So we'd love to talk to you about that sometime too.
All right, definitely.
Oh, we all love the Oasis at Baloo, don't we?
Betsy's gonna put I know she's gonna put her email in there, and then just email. And when we're having our meetings, please pop in. So yeah, that'd be great, Dave. Yeah, we're trying to connect as many people as possible. This is great. So yeah, we're gonna get this done, man. We're gonna change the city. We're gonna save this world, save our city. I keep saying we're a city by the sea, and I can't breathe underwater. We got to change some things.
Excellent. Thank you. And maybe Betsy or another person from our team, Ruth or Kate, can drop this email into the chat. So if folks want to follow up with BTU about their climate committee, we are hoping that we'll be able to organize, thank you, Joel, we'll be able to organize cooperatively owned community solar on the public schools. Let's put them out there. Let's put them on all the schools, public, private, charter, everything. Coming soon.
Before I go, just to think about it, a little thing. I tried to get solar. One time an organization said they'll do it for free at the Tobin, and BPS was like the roof hasn't been touched since 1950. Those solar panels will go right through. Then we had a fire about 4 weeks later. So these are things to think about. Sorry. All right, I'm out now. Sorry, no more.
No, Joel, one other thing though, before you go, we are also looking at ways to do this in parking lots because roofs are complicated for that reason that the school has to fix their roof first, but there are ways to do this too.
School parking lots?
Mm-hmm.
I would say
Okay,
most school
okay.
parking lots are like 20 spots for 100 teachers.
Yeah, but it
Wait,
gives you
I'm
something.
just gonna jump in here right now because y'all are getting right into the next part of our exercise. And I don't want it to just be the two of you. I want everybody to be able to participate. So thank you, Joel. Thank you, Kate. We are about to do a breakout group brainstorm. So in small groups, we are going to brainstorm after we give a brief introduction of ourselves, how we can make community solar happen where it's needed most. And then, like some of the brainstorming you just saw happening between Joel and Kate of how we can bring more community solar and how we can make it happen where it's needed most, you all can brainstorm who are the connections, where are the sites that you think you want to see solar most, what are the overlaps and intersections that we have with some of the groups we heard from tonight. Did you all come up with amazing ideas?
Yeah,
How
I'm
we're gonna
excited
bring
to
more
share.
solar back. Welcome back, everybody. All right. Thank you all so much for sharing your brain power with Co-op Power Boston and answering the question of how can we make it happen to bring community solar where it's needed most. And first up to report back is going to be Ruth's group. So Ruth, take it away. What did you brainstorm? What did you hear?
Hello, everyone. Yeah, we had a lot of great ideas in my group. There was myself, Suneeth, Mira, Mela, and Eli. So I went out first. And so this question, how can we make community solar happen where it's needed the most? The first thing that came to my mind was definitely just going to communities and just asking people what they need rather than throwing projects in their space because you need to spend a certain type of funding, because it may turn out that maybe a need for community solar is less in one community than it is in another. Maybe one community needs more fresh foods, so a program geared to that would be better, but you wouldn't know until you ask them first. I think being able to understand where it's needed will make planning for community solar a lot more effective. Suni had a great idea as well. He believed that the visibility of projects is very important. If you expose more people to the idea of having community solar in their neighborhoods, they'll be able to visualize the same things being in their communities. Just like with the schools, the students are better able to understand what kind of world we live in and what we're fighting against. And from that alone, just having the panels on the school, that's enough to inspire a whole new generation. Mira was a teacher at Boston Public Schools, and in her experience, she found it hard to figure out what it was the right thing to do in terms of working together to fight against climate change. However, she notices with the community solar model, it acknowledges the many different variables that come with this issue of climate change, and community solar is a great model that addresses all of those factors. Mela pointed out that there were many co-ops in Boston, and there's just so much activity going on, but people don't really know as much because there may be a lack of community engagement. So for example, for this launch party that we have right now, having it in person and actually making it a party where people can come over and have fun will increase community engagement and therefore promote community solar throughout Boston.
Ruth,
And
I'm gonna go ahead and give you a pause because I want to give a chance for other groups to share and keep us on time. Is that okay?
sure, sorry about that. Yeah.
All right.
Eli said something very important too. So I just wanted to acknowledge his contribution as well.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Ruth. I'm going to pass it off to Olive and Alphonse. Can you unmute yourselves and give us a little 1-minute report back from your group on some of the brainstorms you heard? Thank you.
Thanks. We had Gail, Nancy, Kendra, and Stephanie with us tonight, and some great ideas. One of the things we talked about was how important community solar is to get it to people who are not homeowners and people who have no money or they can't take it or not in shaded or whatever, and to educate people on how to overcome those barriers. So that was very important. Then we had some ideas around where to place hospitals came up. That was a very interesting discussion about them, the healthcare industry being the leading polluters, which was a shock to all of us. So want to hear more about that. Churches and schools, colleges, and especially we mentioned parking lots. So those are some of the ideas we came up with. And also Alphonse answered a question about how technology has improved. So now the solar panels are much smaller, lighter, and more flexible. We have more ways we can use them. So very exciting discussion.
Thank you, Olive and Alphonse. All right, I'm going to pass it out to you, Kate, and then save some time for Marianne's group as well. Thank you.
I will be brief. I will not quote everybody. Really great conversation with David, Hendricks, Jude, and Myrna. And what we really ended up with was thinking about partnerships we could start pursuing. I'll just talk to that part right now. We've already made this link to one NDC that through David, through JP NDC, through the other NDCs, we should really start to reach out through the NDC community and see if we can do more of this kind of work. Jude mentioned a whole bunch of things that are happening in Worcester, and we'd love to follow up with Jude specifically about Renew Worcester, some of the new affordable housing that's going into Worcester. There's already a co-op academy that Jude mentioned. So there seems to be a lot of action in Worcester that we should really try to tap into. And then Henrik's mentioned a partnership we should pursue with City Life, which also has already a network of affordable housing and tenants rights that, that there are groups that already exist that we should bring Co-op Power Boston to as a collaboration, a cooperative amongst cooperatives. Those were just all some really great ideas for how to extend our reach to existing groups. Hope I synthesized that, guys.
Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Kate's group and Hendricks and everybody and Jude for sharing. All right, so the last group to share back, Marianne, would you report out for us, please? Thank you.
Thank you all. That's some great brainstorming. Jude, there is a CEC in Worcester. So I don't know if you're already part of that or not, but I just wanted to resurrect that. So I just will probably call upon you to see if you're help in that regard. Our group, I'm going to go from the end back to the beginning. So we ended up talking about parking lots, and they asked a great question, which I will try to find the answer to, which is what size parking lot is needed to make it able to be financed? Because parking lots seem like such a great idea, right? They keep everything, the cars cool underneath or snow off, but they're quite expensive to build because of, as I've heard described there, it's like creating a solar sail. So there's a lot of concrete, a lot of steel that goes into those. So the question was, what size does it need to be financeable? So I'm going to try to go to Resident Energy and some of our design build groups and see if I can get a sense of that in terms of thinking about, as you all are looking for what's an appropriate site for solar. That seemed like a really good question. One of the really interesting resources is Jason mentioned a church that wants to put solar on its roof, and the question came up whether it was a historical church because their roof, I think, is falling apart. And Jenny mentioned the Community Preservation Act as a way that churches are getting roofs restored. The interesting question that came up for me around that is, are they willing to have a roof restored and then put solar on it, or does that kind of go against the integrity of the building? But that, I just thought that was a really innovative potential resource. And then Susan and Lisa are here from Gloucester, and so we talked about potentially starting a new community energy co-op out there and what it would look like for them to start a co-op. And I think probably one of my first workshops at Co-op Power will be around developing energy cooperatives for other people who live in areas that don't have one that already exists, like Co-op Power Boston does. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Marianne, Ruth, Kate. Alphonse and Olive, for summing up and leading a lively discussion at our launch party. It is now time, everyone, to raise a glass, take a poll, and then, yeah, so go fill up your glass, whatever it is, take a poll, and then Alphonse is going to close us out, and then I'm going to play a song, because why not? So here we go. While you're filling your glass, just this little after party poll of how we're going to follow up with you after this party. Very easy. 2 questions. Would you like to join Co-op Power Boston? Options are yes, I want to become a member owner. I need to become a member owner. I need to join. I'm already a member. I'm not sure yet. Thinking about it. Maybe you like the vibes. You're just thinking about it. And then the second follow-up. Would you follow up with me about more Co-op Power Boston events? This was fun. Fundraising. I am willing and or experienced. Membership outreach. I am a connector. I know people. I love calling people and talking to people, emailing people. Potential new projects. I know people, rooftops, carports, etc., etc. Or something else, email me to find out. So as everybody goes to grab their drinks, please take a minute to answer the poll. And then I'm going to pass it off to our dear friend Alphonse. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining. It looks like we are at 82% participation, and maybe I'm going to close it. So we have 4 people who want to become member owners, and let's see, lots of people who had fun at this event, interested in membership outreach, new projects, and something else mysterious. So we will be in touch, party people. All right. So last but not least, please raise your glasses. And Alphonse, would you lead us in a wonderful toast to close out the night? Alphonse, are you there? Oh, there you are.
We have some.
In closing, a toast, raise a glass. We have so much to celebrate. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Co-op Power of Boston, current and future members, Viet Aid, Dorchester Food Co-op, Codman Square NDC, and Boston Teachers Union, and Boston Ujima Project. Thank you. Have a great night.
Yay!
Yay!
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're doing it.
Cheers, party people.
That's what I was
Hi,
doing.
Bella. Bye.